Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. One of the more hyped up coaching prospects over the last 5 years has been Eric Bieniemy, the longtime offensive coordinator under Andy Reid with the Chiefs. And this year, he finally gets his opportunity, not as a head coach, but to run his own show, to run his own offense in Washington with the Commanders. And it is vital that in year one of this Eric Bieniemy system in Washington, he gets good quarterback play, and they are going to rely on their 5th-round pick last year, Sam Howell, to deliver that good quarterback play. In today's video, I'm going to be answering the question, can Sam Howell ball out in 2023 for the Commanders? Now, I was much higher on Sam Howell than that 5th-round pick suggests, and I was much higher on Sam Howell than the consensus. Coming out of UNC, I know it is a very lazy comparison to make, a UNC quarterback to a UNC quarterback, but Sam Howell really reminded me of Mitch Trubisky when Mitch Trubisky came out of UNC. Now in hindsight, obviously Mitch Trubisky was not a first-round prospect. He was not a top 10 prospect, which he was drafted to be, but I think in hindsight, it's pretty fair to say Mitch Trubisky was about a 2nd to a 3rd round prospect, and I have the same exact thoughts about Sam Howell. I feel as though NFL executives and NFL scouts really overreact to one bad season from Sam Howell because a couple years ago, Sam Howell is projected to be a 1st-round pick after 2 phenomenal seasons with UNC. In 3 years as a starter with UNC, in year 1, he looked really good. He put up 38 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions on about 3,500 yards. Year 2, 30 touchdowns to 7 interceptions with a very similar yardage. And then year 3, he put up 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. And year 3 is what I really want to talk about with Sam Howell and why there was that statistical drop-off. Not only that, but his tape didn't look nearly as good. First off, the roster turnover. All their skill position players, such as Dyami Brown, a guy who I still really believe in, a guy that went to UNC and is currently on the Commanders, reuniting with his old college quarterback. He was no longer there by year 3 of the Sam Howell experience at UNC. Their running back room was absolutely gutted. Their offensive line was really bad, so they didn't really have the skill position players to be conducive of a good college football offense. Not only that, but more importantly, from a schematic standpoint, they treated Sam Howell like the Bears treated Mitch Trubisky in his first couple of years with the Bears. In terms of the first couple of years of Sam Howell with UNC, they had a completely open playbook, a very traditional NFL drop-back passing game, and that's why Sam Howell's tape looks so phenomenal in year 1 and year 2. But in year 3, every single play was an RPO. It was a read option. They were basically using Sam Howell as a gimmicky, gadget-esque football player with a really nice run ability. And this really caused Sam Howell's game to suffer and drop off. But to me, we can't completely ignore the first 2 years for Sam Howell at UNC. I'm still a big believer. Let me talk about some of the traits, the positives, the negatives, and why I do like Sam Howell and why I'm higher on him going into this season. The physical talent is really nice and the frame is really nice, and he's still young. He was drafted as a 21-year-old. He's not some 24, 25-year-old with less upside to get better. No, there's still a significant amount of improvement that can be done with Sam Howell as a younger prospect. The physical talent, again, was very nice from Sam Howell. He's fast. He's much faster than people give him credit for. He's powerful. He's a nice, powerful runner as well. He's a guy in a pinch could pick up a nice 1st down on a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 with his legs. He's a guy you don't necessarily want to design a run game around, but he's a guy 5 times a game can run an RPO. He can run a read option and tuck it and gain nice 5, 10-yard gain. And then his arm talent is really nice. It kind of reminds me of Baker Mayfield. He can make every single throw on the football field with nice power and velocity behind his ball. Now, getting into some of his negatives, I think he throws with too much juice on his ball sometimes, which really causes his accuracy to suffer somewhat. And the ball placement is not great from Sam Howell as well, but that's definitely something that can be worked on. And it's not like his accuracy was absolute trash, but it's definitely an area of improvement that Sam Howell does need to make going into this season. And for a developmental traits guy drafted in the 5th round, his pre and post snap processor is much better than you would think. Is it polished? Is it NFL ready? Coming out of the NFL and coming into the draft, no, it wasn't. But getting into year 2, if you have Eric Bieniemy, a guy who has worked with Patrick Mahomes, who self-admittedly could not read a defense, not only year 1, but year 2, in his MVP season, in that phenomenal, earth-shattering season that Patrick Mahomes had, he self-admittedly said, I still couldn't read a defense in year 2, but Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid did such a good job tapping into my physical skill set that it gave me enough time. It gave me a buffer window to learn some of those traits, to learn some of those concepts in terms of reading a defense pre and post snap. So if Eric Bieniemy can really tap into this physical potential that Sam Howell does possess, I see a very nice season out of Sam Howell. Now, is he Patrick Mahomes? Absolutely not. He doesn't have the physical talent that Patrick Mahomes has, but Sam Howell definitely has an ability to create a play behind the line of scrimmage, extend the window of opportunity for his receivers to get open and hit his receivers, and that's something I really like as well. The Commanders have a sneaky, really nice roster in terms of the skill position players. The running back room is very nice, and then the receiver room, I absolutely love the receiver room. Curtis Samuel's good. I just said I'm a big believer in Dyami Brown still. I don't know if he's going to give you anything at this point just because he's absolutely buried on the roster and on the depth chart, which again, I do think is a shame. Terry McLaurin is one of my favorite receivers in the NFL. His talent goes without saying. He's very good. And then Jahan Dotson had a really nice rookie year and looks to have a really nice year 2 as well. If I had to give my prediction for Sam Howell, Eric Bieniemy, and this Commanders team, I do think Sam Howell retains this starting job over Jacoby Brissett and is the starter for the entire year. If I had to give a prediction of his stat line this year, I think he puts up about 3,400 yards, 22 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I know those stats aren't eye-popping. They're not wowing. They aren't phenomenal. I think Sam Howell will have some struggles up against some really good defenses because this Commanders team does have some really tough games on their schedule in terms of some of the defensive matchups, but they have some really favorable matchups as well. They have the Arizona Cardinals week 1, and that Arizona Cardinals defense is absolutely gutted from a roster standpoint. So I can see Sam Howell having a really nice game 1, really boosts the confidence of the entire team, the coaching staff, and most importantly, Sam Howell. So he's going to parlay that really nice week 1 performance into a really solid year. And I think he's going to go into year 3 with some nice job security, which he does not have at the moment. Thanks for listening, guys. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on Sam Howell, and is Eric Bieniemy going to ball out for the Commanders this season with Sam Howell at the helm?